Crazies, man. Y'all are in the lab. Lee here. You see that title too as well. We're talking about 8 new Mandela effects to blow your mind. Yes, 8 new Mandela effects to make you question this reality that we reside in. Please remember that some of these Mandela effects might not be new to you, but they will be new to somebody else. So please respect that. And with that said, y'all remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and leave me your comments down below so we can talk about these Mandelas and other Mandela effects that we see around the times. Now, without further ado, let's get this going. Number 8 for today is actually going to kind of be a debunker Mandela effect, and we're going to be talking about the yield sign. Yes, you know the yield sign. If you're driving in this century, you know what the yield sign looks like. You see it right there, the yield sign, yield sign. Well, there's a Mandela effect that is going around that people are remembering the yield sign being yellow. They never remember it being red, and it was always yellow to them in their world. And I understand where they're getting this from, because yes, yield signs used to be yellow. Back in the 50s and 60s and the day, it was yellow for like 50 years. And then about 30 years ago, they decided to change the color to the red and the white. I remember it used to being all red, but you know, it does look different now. But that is the Mandela effect with that. That yes, it used to be yellow back in the day, but it is not yellow anymore. It is not a Mandela effect. It's a debunker right there for you. If you do have anything on the yield sign about that, that might make me question this too as well, let me know down below. That is right. We are going to Flavor Town, and we're going to be talking about Guy Fieri, and we're going to be talking kind of about the missing clothing that is usually on Guy Fieri. Yes. As you see right there, there's Guy right there looking what he does, and doing what he does. And well, the Mandela effect on this is what he is missing. Now, does anybody like me remember Mr. Guy Fieri having a visor on top of his head? Yes, we're always wearing a visor during his driver's dive-ins and dives. In his little shows, he always had a visor on, right? Well, if you're saying right with me, you're completely wrong. You are completely wrong, because Guy Fieri never had a visor in any of the shows, never depicted any shows. You can't find any clippets of anything with Guy Fieri having a visor. But if that's so weird and so crazy to you, then why do we have the Guy Fieri headgear, the visor with this hair, the spiky hair, for sale on Amazon and eBay and stuff like that? Why do we have these type of visors? And actually, when I think about this now, those hair visors, you know, they might have been out, but they didn't get popularized until Guy Fieri was wearing them. And that right there blows my mind. But how do you remember that? Do you always remember Guy Fieri always wearing a visor in all of his shows and all of his appearances? Or are you like it is in this reality, like, nah, he never wore one at all, never had, never will?
All right, hands in the air, vertically. Both arms should be parallel to each other. You fill this bag
with this one. We're going to have to go to the person that stole Guy Fieri's hat, and we're going to be talking about the robber emoji. Yes, the robber emoji. Y'all remember the robber emoji, right? Yeah, I do too. I remember using it all the time. It's like, hey man, we got to go make this money. Let's go rob it. No, nothing like that, but I remember the robber emoji. As you see right there, it's not the real robber emoji. It is just a depiction of the robber emoji, along with the little running away guy too, as the runner emoji too, the robber emoji. But in this reality, that emoji, those two emojis never existed at all. You've never used it, you've never touched it, you've never seen it apparently in this multi-universe. You've never seen it. It has never ever existed. And as I say right there, it was been confirmed that there has never been a robber emoji ever. This blows my mind, because I remember using it. I know you remember using it. I remember you probably know you've had it come to you before. But how do you remember this Mandela effect? Do you remember the robber emojis? Or do you remember never ever using it, seeing it, hearing it, or being part of the emoji clan itself? Yes, that is right. Number 5 is going to be Cowboy versus Aliens. Yes, you heard me say that. Cowboys versus aliens. Well, apparently, as you know, as I'm saying Cowboys versus aliens, the Mandela effect is definitely that whole title of the name itself. Cowboy versus aliens. Well, it was never or ever has been cowboy versus aliens. It is cowboys and aliens. Now, I remember when this movie came out, I remember now Craig, because he was like the new, the new 007, so this was part of like his little round of movies and making his Red Hood. And I remember it's like, oh yeah, then they're going to the West, they're going to be fighting, they're going to be having fucking aliens in there, man. It's cowboys versus aliens. And well, it blows my mind to tell you that it never was versus. It's always been cowboys and aliens. Cowboys and aliens. That doesn't sound like a great fight to me, because he was blowing them all up, saving the freaking West. That's what he was doing. But how do you remember the Mandela Effect on this one? Do you always remember the title of that movie being Cowboys versus Aliens? Or do you remember it the way it is and always has been, Cowboy and Aliens? Right, we got breaking news for you live in the studio. I am your host, Lee, and we are actually going to talk about Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam's hat. There's so much evidence about how his hat originally was. As you know, that his hat does not look the way we remember it. Does not have the stripes on top of his hat anymore. It's just a plain white hat with the stars going around it. But like my memory and millions of others' memories, we always remember that looking like the United States of the flag with having the red stripes and stuff like that. And well, me and my little research and how I like to do my little funs with these Mandela effects, I have to show you a little bit of the proof that is still out there of Mr. Uncle Sam's hat.
Scenes from the Eskimo soap opera.
Believe it! Uncle Slam has defeated Osama bin Rotten. Wow! Here comes Secretary of Hate, Colin Kapow!
Jeez, what the hell?
They're called nipples, guys.
They're freaking huge.
You know what? Maybe we can just...
You guys are on after Al Franken, so the guards would have used up most of their bullets.
I could have gone on that, but you saw The Simpsons, The Family Guys, even Lou, whose line isn't anyway with Drew Carey that, and you could go on with this one, but Uncle Sam always had those stripes on his hat, not the way it is depicted now, just being that white with the stars. I know some people say, well, there's a copyright thing, they can't copyright the thing off of that because it's a patent you lost. No, that's BS, that's bullshit. It doesn't go that way. We live in America. The stars and stripes are part of our heritage. It's not copyrighted. We can use it all day long if we want to. Ah, man, Uncle Sam, stripes. There you go.
What? Oh, who had the gun?
I did.
Then you shot him.
I didn't.
Well, you had the gun. If you didn't shoot him, who did?
One of the funniest movies of all time. Was a great movie, classic movie. Clue, yes. All that whole cast was amazing. Just the storylines and all the other different endings with that. But we're not even talking about those endings or this movie. We are talking actually about the board game, and is it a revolver or a pistol? Here we go. Answer your questions for me now. Do you always remember the gun piece in Clue being either a revolver or a pistol? Well, if you are saying revolver, well, you're correct in my universe, because I always do remember it being a revolver. But apparently now on the score sheets, they do say pistol. Pistol. I know it's on the newer ones too as well. I always remember the revolver. You can look it up too as well. You still see revolvers on the old stuff too as well. Even the depiction of when it changed, the US and the UK version did say revolver, then it switched over to pistol. And it blows my mind because it was always a revolver. It's not a pistol, it's a freaking revolver. It looks like a revolver. It's a 6-shooter, and it boggles me. This Mandela effect kind of throws me a little bit. I don't know for sure, but it does boggle my mind that you can see that it is a revolver on the cards, but then you look at the score sheet and it says pistol. Different to me. But how do you remember that piece? Do you always remember that piece, that card, being a revolver or a pistol? Let me know.
Real good, too. And don't leave no streaks. Hey.
Oh, that great American treat known around the world. Yes, we are talking about McDonald's. McDonald's itself. And, well, how do you pronounce McDonald's or spell McDonald's? Most people remember McDonald's kind of like I do, being spelled McDonald's. M-A-C. McDonald's, just like the Big Mac, right? But, apparently now it's never been called McDonald's. It's McDonald's. And it just boggles me, the MC on Donald's. It just blows me away with that. You named your signature burger after you, the Big Mac. So wouldn't it be McDonald's too? I know I'm stretching. Some people might think that too as well. But here's a little thing from good old Coming to America. Listen.
See, they're McDonald's. I'm McDowell's. Huh? See, they're McDonald's. I'm McDowell's. Huh?
They call themselves McDonald's. We call ourselves McDowell's. McDonald's. McDowell's. McDonald's. McDowell's. It's crazy to me. It blows my mind because that was a throw phrase of that whole thing about McDonald's and McDowell's because they were trying to steal everything else on there. But that's how I remember it. I always remember it being McDonald's. M-A-C, McDonald's. That's just like the Big Mac, you know. But how do you remember this? Do you always remembered McDonald's being the way it is currently now, just being MC? Or are you like me and many others remembering McDonald's being McDonald's, M-A-C?
As long as I can talk and as long as I can see, the more state police have arrived. They're drawing up a cordon in front of the pit. About 30 of them. No need to push the crowd back now.
Number 2, we're going to be talking about that classic radio show Orson Welles did about the War on Wars. Yes, the War of Wars, and the whole premise of that whole thing was on Halloween 39, 38, that it was just basically kind of a spook show, radio station show, because you know TVs weren't really evolved then. And it was depicting that the aliens have landed and they're coming to destroy the planet. And it caused all this mass hysteria around the world, around the U.S. People were jumping out of windows. People were running for their lives. People were in mass hysteria. And with that whole broadcast is part of where the fake news started. But the Mandela effect in this is the part where I said the whole world, the whole nation, you're talking about the U.S. went crazy, buck wild, people jumping out of windows, people running for them lives, trying to get away, scared out of all bejesus. Never really happened. They wasn't no mass hysteria at all. There wasn't people jumping out of windows, or weren't people running for them lives. And exactly, they say only really 7,000 or plus, not that many people heard that broadcast over the radio station. It only became big news after the fact. Somebody published it in the newspaper talking about how it was brought on the news that the aliens are going, and actually like the one town it was talking about is the only town that kind of went bonkers, and that's where this whole mass hysteria went through and went crazy. So it really never happened. Nobody in the whole world didn't go crazy, you know. Yes, didn't go crazy. People weren't jumping out the roost, as that we're saying. But we learned this in school, that it was the biggest thing, the scam thing on the radio that scared the masses, and people died during this thing. But how do you remember the freaking Orson Welles, the War of Wars broadcast being? Do you always remember it being a mass hysteria, people actually dying, jumping out of windows, running for their lives? Or do you remember it the way history says it now, that it really wasn't that big at all? Oh yes, number 1, that classic Disney movie, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. You know, I love Disney. I love this movie, you know, and I love the Doors. The Doors are awesome. But we are talking in particular about that famous song that they sung all the time. Hi-ho, it's off to work we go. Hi-ho, hi-ho, ah-ho, 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 it's off to work we go. But what if I told you I sung that completely? Oh, it's home from work we go. It's home from work we go. Home from work we go. Never in my generation, never in my mind, I have never ever sung it that way. I've always sung it from off to work we go, not it's home from work we go. I do understand they are leaving work and they're going home, so why would it be off of work we go is exactly kind of how I feel. It's off to work we go. It blows my mind, so why would it be it's home from work we go? I do understand, but it's never been that way. blows my mind. There's even memes saying off to work we go, and you're telling us that it is completely wrong. We've been singing this song our entire lives. It's always been, it's home from work we go. Never, never. But how do you remember this? Do you always remember it being off to work we go? Or do you remember it the way it always has been? It's home from work we go. 8 new more Mandela Effects to boggle that mind once again, make you question this whole reality that we reside in. Always love doing these, always love throwing a little mind boggles at everybody's way. Man, if like you just said before, if you enjoyed this at any time, please remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and leave me those comments down below so we can talk about these. As well as, y'all remember, please keep your mind open, because those eyes will see everything in front of them. Y'all stay crazy.
I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.